The philosophical scripture, the Discourses, is brought to you by not a prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. Chapter 6. Against those who lament over being pitied. I am grieved, a man says, at being pitied. Whether, then, is the fact of your being pitied a thing which concerns you or those who pity you? Well, is it in your power to stop this pity? It is in my power, if I show them that I do not require pity. And whether, then, are you in the condition of not deserving pity, or are you not in that condition? I think I am not, but these persons do not pity me for the things for which, if they ought to pity me, it would be proper, I mean, for my faults, but they pity me for my poverty, for not possessing honorable offices, for diseases and deaths, and other such things. Whether, then, are you prepared to convince the many that not one of these things is an evil, but that it is possible for a man who is poor and has no office and enjoys no honor to be happy, or to show yourself to them as rich and in power? For the second of these things belong to a man who is boastful, silly, and good for nothing. And consider by what means the pretense must be supported. It will be necessary for you to hire slaves and to possess a few silver vessels, and to exhibit them in public, if it is possible, though they are often the same, and to attempt to conceal the fact that they are the same, and to have splendid garments and all other things for display, and to show that you are a man honored by the great, and to try to sup at their houses, or to be supposed to sup there, and as to your person to employ some mean arts, that you may appear to be more handsome and nobler than you are. These things you must contrive, if you choose to go by the second path, in order not to be pitied. But the first way is both impracticable and long, to attempt the very thing which Zeus has not been able to do, to convince all men what things are good and bad. Is this power given to you? This only is given to you, to convince yourself, and you have not convinced yourself. Then I ask you, do you attempt to persuade other men? And who has lived so long with you as you with yourself? And who has so much power of convincing you as you have of convincing yourself? And who is better disposed and nearer to you than you are to yourself? How, then, have you not convinced yourself in order to learn? At present are not things upside down? Is this what you have been earnest about doing, to learn to be free from grief and free from disturbance, and not to be humbled, and to be free? Have you not heard, then, that there is only one way which leads to this end, to give up the things which do not depend on the will, to withdraw from them, and to admit that they belong to others? For another man, then, to have an opinion about you, of what kind is it? It is a thing independent of the will. Then is it nothing to you? It is nothing. When, then, you are still vexed at this and disturbed, do you think that you are convinced about good and evil? Will you not, then, letting others alone, be to yourself both scholar and teacher? The rest of mankind will look after this, whether it is to their interest to be, and to pass their lives in a state contrary to nature. But to me no man is nearer than myself. What, then, is the meaning of this? That I have listened to the words of the philosophers, and I assent to them. But in fact I am no way made easier. Am I so stupid? And yet, in all other things such as I have chosen, I have not been found very stupid, but I learned letters quickly, and to wrestle, and geometry, and to resolve syllogisms. Has not, then, reason convinced me? And indeed no other things have I from the beginning so approved and chosen, and now I read about these things, hear about them, write about them. I have so far discovered no reason stronger than this. In what, then, am I deficient? Have the contrary opinions not been eradicated from me? Have the notions themselves not been exercised nor used to be applied to action, but as armor are laid aside and rusted and cannot fit me? And yet Neither in the exercises of the palaestra, nor in writing or reading am I satisfied with learning, but I turn up and down the syllogisms which are proposed, and I make others, and sophistical syllogisms also, but the necessary theorems, by proceeding from which a man can become free from grief, fear, passions, hindrance, and a free man, these I do not exercise myself in, nor do I practice. In these the proper practice, then I care about what others will say of me, whether I shall appear to them worth notice, whether I shall appear happy. Wretched man, will you not see what you are saying about yourself? What do you appear to yourself to be? In your opinions, in your desires, in your aversions from things, in your movements, in your preparation, in your designs, and in other acts suitable to a man. But do you trouble yourself about this, whether others pity you? Yes, but I am pitied not as I ought to be. Are you then pained at this? And is he who is pained an object of pity? Yes. How, then, are you pitied not as you ought to be? For by the very act that you feel about being pitied, you make yourself deserving of pity. What then says Antisthenes? Have you not heard, "It is a royal thing, O Cyrus, to do right and to be ill spoken of. My head is sound, and all think that I have the headache. What do I care for that? I am free from fever, and people sympathize with me as if I had a fever. Poor man, for so long a time you have not ceased to have fever." I also say with a sorrowful countenance, "In truth, it is now a long time that I have been ill. What will happen then? As God may please." And at the same time I secretly laugh at those who are pitying me. What, then, hinders the same being done in this case also? I am poor, but I have a right opinion about poverty. Why, then, do I care if they pity me for my poverty? I am not in power, but others are, and I have the opinion which I ought to have about having and not having power. Let them look to it who pity me, but I am neither hungry nor thirsty, nor do I suffer cold. But because they are hungry or thirsty, they think that I too am. What then shall I do for them? Shall I go about and proclaim and say, "Be not mistaken, men, I am very well. I do not trouble myself about poverty, nor want of power, nor in a word about anything else than right opinions. These I have free from restraint, I care for nothing at all." What foolish talk is this? How do I possess right opinions when I am not content with being what I am, but am uneasy about what I am supposed to be? But, you say, others will get more and be preferred to me. What, then, is more reasonable than for those who have labored about anything to have more in that thing in which they have labored? They have labored for power, you have labored about opinions, and they have labored for wealth, you for the proper use of appearances. See if they have more than you in this about which you have labored, and which they neglect, if they assent better than you with respect to the natural rules of things, if they are less disappointed than you in their desires, if they fall less into things which they would avoid than you do, if in their intentions, if in the things which they propose to themselves, if in their purposes, if in their motions toward an object they take a better aim, if they better observe a proper behavior as men, as sons, as parents, and so on as to the other names by which we express the relations of life. But if they exercise power, and you do not, will you not choose to tell yourself the truth, that you do nothing for the sake of this, and they do all? But it is most unreasonable that he who looks after anything should obtain less than he who does not look after it. Not so, but since I care about right opinions, it more reasonable for me to have power. Yes, in the matter about which you do care, in opinions, but in a matter in which they have cared more than you, give way to them. The case is just the same as if, because you have right opinions, you thought that in using the bow you should hit the mark better than an archer, and in working in metal you should succeed better than a smith. Give up, then, your earnestness about opinions, and employ yourself about the things which you wish to acquire, and then lament, if you do not succeed, for you deserve to lament. But now you say that you are occupied with other things, that you are looking after other things. But the many say this truly, that one act has no community with another. He who has risen in the morning seeks whom he shall salute, to whom he shall say something agreeable, to whom he shall send a present, how he shall please the dancing man, how by bad behavior to one he may please another. When he prays about these things. When he sacrifices for these things. The saying of Pythagoras, let sleep not come upon thy languid eyes, he transfers to these things. Where have I failed in the matters pertaining to flattery? What have I done? Anything like a free man, anything like a noble-minded man. And if he finds anything of the kind, he blames and accuses himself. Why did you say this? Was it not in your power to lie? Even the philosophers say that nothing hinders us from telling a lie. But do you, if indeed you have cared about nothing else except the proper use of appearances, as soon as you have risen in the morning reflect, what do I want in order to be free from passion, and free from perturbation? What am I? Am I a poor body, a piece of property, a thing of which something is said? I am none of these, but what am I? I am a rational animal. What then is required of me? Reflect on your acts. Where have I omitted the things which conduce to happiness? What have I done which is either unfriendly or unsocial? What have I not done as to these things which I ought to have done? So great, then, being the difference in desires, actions, wishes, would you still have the same share with others in those things about which you have not labored, and they have labored? Then are you surprised if they pity you, and are you vexed? But they are not vexed if you pity them. Why? Because they are convinced that they have that which is good, and you are not convinced. For this reason you are not satisfied with your own, but you desire that which they have. But they are satisfied with their own, and do not desire what you have, since, if you were really convinced that with respect to what is good, it is you who are the possessor of it, and that they have missed it, you would not even have thought of what they say about you. Chapter 7, on freedom from fear. What makes the tyrant formidable? The guards, you say, and their swords, and the men of the bedchamber, and those who exclude them who would enter. Why, then, if you bring a boy to the tyrant when he is with his guards, is he not afraid? Or is it because the child does not understand these things? If then any man does understand what guards are, and that they have swords, and comes to the tyrant for this very purpose, because he wishes to die on account of some circumstance, and seeks to die easily by the hand of another, is he afraid of the guards? No, for he wishes for the thing which makes the guards formidable. If then, neither any man wishing to die nor to live by all means, but only as it may be permitted, approaches the tyrant, what hinders him from approaching the tyrant without fear? Nothing. If then a man has the same opinion about his property as the man whom I have instanced has about his body, and also about his children and his wife, and in a word is so affected by some madness or despair that he cares not whether he possesses them or not, but like children who are playing with shells care about the play, but do not trouble themselves about the shells, so he too has set no value on the materials, but values the pleasure that he has with them and the occupation. What tyrant is then formidable to him, or what guards, or what swords? Then through madness is it possible for a man to be so disposed toward these things, and the Galileans through habit. And is it possible that no man can learn from reason and from demonstration that God has made all the things in the universe, and the universe itself completely free from hindrance and perfect, and the parts of it for the use of the whole? All other animals indeed are incapable of comprehending the administration of it, but the rational animal, man, has faculties for the consideration of all these, and for understanding that it is a part, and what kind of a part it is, and that it is right for the parts to be subordinate to the whole. And besides this being naturally noble, magnanimous, and free, man sees that of the things which surround him some are free from hindrance and in his power, and the other things are subject to hindrance and in the power of others, that the things which are free from hindrance are in the power of the will, and those which are subject to hindrance are the things which are not in the power of the will. And for this reason, if he thinks that his good and his interest be in these things only which are free from hindrance and in his own power, he will be free, prosperous, happy, free from harm, magnanimous, pious, thankful to God for all things, in no matter finding fault with any of the things which have not been put in his power, nor blaming any of them. But if he thinks that his good and his interest are in externals, and in things which are not in the power of his will, he must of necessity be hindered, be impeded, be a slave to those who have power over things which he admires and fears, and he must of necessity be impious, because he thinks that he is harmed by God, and he must be unjust, because he always claims more than belongs to him, and he must of necessity be abject and mean. What hinders a man, who has clearly separated these things, from living with a light heart and bearing easily the reins, quietly expecting everything which can happen, and enduring that which hath already happened? Would you have me to bear poverty? Come, and you will know what poverty is when it has found one who can act well the part of a poor man. Would you have me to possess power? Let me have power, and also the trouble of it. Well, banishment. Wherever I shall go, there it will be well with me. For here also where I am, it was not because of the place that it was well with me, but because of my opinions which I shall carry off with me. For neither can any man deprive me of them, but my opinions alone are mine, and they cannot be taken from me, and I am satisfied while I have them, wherever I may be, and whatever I am doing. But now it is time to die. Why do you say to die? Make no tragedy show of the thing, but speak of it as it is. It is now time for the matter to be resolved into the things out of which it was composed. And what is the formidable thing here? What is going to perish of the things which are in the universe? What new thing or wondrous is going to happen? Is it for this reason that a tyrant is formidable? Is it for this reason that the guards appear to have swords which are large and sharp? Say this to others, but I have considered about all these things. No man has power over me. I have been made free. I know his commands. No man can now lead me as a slave. I have a proper person to assert my freedom. I have proper judges. Are you not the master of my body? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my property? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my exile or of my chains? Well, from all these things and all the poor body itself, I depart at your bidding, when you please. Make trial of your power, and you will know how far it reaches. Whom then can I still fear? Those who are over the bedchamber? Lest they should do, what? Shut me out. If they find that I wish to enter, let them shut me out. Why, then, do you go to the doors? Because I think it befits me, while the play lasts, to join in it. How, then, are you not shut out? Because, unless someone allows me to go in, I do not choose to go in, but am always content with that which happens. For I think that what God chooses is better than what I choose. I will attach myself as a minister and follower to him. I have the same movements as he has. I have the same desires. In a word, I have the same will. There is no shutting out for me, but for those who would force therein. Why, then, do not I force my way in? Because I know that nothing good is distributed within to those who enter. But when I hear any man called fortunate because he is honored by Caesar, I say, what does he happen to get? A province. Does he also obtain an opinion such as he ought, the office of a prefect? Does he also obtain the power of using his office well? Why do I still strive to enter? A man scatters dried figs and nuts. The children seize them and fight with one another. Men do not, for they think them to be a small matter. But if a man should throw about shells, even the children do not seize them. Provinces are distributed. Let children look to that. Money is distributed. Let children look to that. Praetorships, consulships are distributed. Let children scramble for them. Let them be shut out, beaten. Kiss the hands of the giver of the slaves. But to me these are only dried figs and nuts. What then, if you fail to get them, while Caesar is scattering them about, do not be troubled. If a dried fig come into your lap, take it and eat it, for so far you may value even a fig. But if I shall stoop down and turn another over, or be turned over by another, and shall flatter those who have got into chamber, neither is a dried fig worth the trouble, nor anything else of. Things which are not good, which the philosophers have persuaded me not to think good. Show me the swords of the guards. See how big they are, and how sharp. What, then, do these big and sharp swords do? They kill. And what does a fever do? Nothing else. And what else a tile? Nothing else. Would you then have me to wonder at these things and worship them, and go about as the slave of all of them? I hope that this will not happen, but when I have once learned that everything which has come into existence must also go out of it, that the universe may not stand still nor be impeded, I no longer consider it any difference whether a fever shall do it, or a tile, or a soldier. But if a man must make a comparison between these things, I know that the soldier will do it with less trouble and quicker. When, then, I neither fear anything which a tyrant can do to me, nor desire anything which he can give, why do I still look on with wonder? Why am I still confounded? Why do I fear the guards? Why am I pleased if he speaks to me in a friendly way, and receives me? And why do I tell others how he spoke to me? Is he a Socrates? Is he a Diogenes that his praise should be a proof of what I am? Have I been eager to imitate his morals? But I keep up the play and go to him, and serve him so long as he does not bid me to do anything foolish or unreasonable. But if he says to me, Go and bring Leon of Salamis, I say to him, Seek another, for I am no longer playing. Lead him away. I follow, that is part of the play. But your head will be taken off. Does the tyrant's head always remain where it is, and the heads of you who obey him? But you will be cast out unburied. If the corpse is I shall be cast out. But if I am different from the corpse, speak more properly according as the fact is, and do not think of frightening me. These things are formidable to children and fools. But if any man has once entered a philosopher's school and knows not what he is, he deserves to be full of fear and to flatter those whom afterward he used to flatter, if he has not yet learned that he is not flesh, nor bones, nor sinews, but he is that which makes use of these parts of the body, and governs them, and follows the appearances of things. Yes, but this talk makes us despise the laws. And what kind of talk makes men more obedient to the laws who employ such talk? And the things which are in the power of a fool are not law. And yet see how this talk makes us disposed, as we ought to be even to these men, since it teaches us to claim in opposition to them none of the things in which they are able to surpass us. This talk teaches us, as to the body, to give it up as to property, to give that up also as to children, parents, brothers, to retire from these, to give up all. It only makes an exception of opinions which even Zeus has willed to be the select property of every man. What transgression of the laws is there here? What folly! Where you are superior and stronger, there I give way to you. On the other hand, where I am superior, do you yield to me, for I have studied this, and you have not. It is your study to live in houses with floors formed of various stones, how your slaves and dependents shall serve you, how you shall wear fine clothing, have many hunting men, lute players, and tragic actors. Do I claim any of these? Have you made any study of opinions and of your own rational faculty? Do you know of what parts it is composed, how they are brought together, how they are connected, what powers it has, and of what kind? Why then are you vexed, if another, who has made it his study, has the advantage over you in these things? But these things are the greatest, and who hinders you from being employed about these things and looking after them? And who has a better stock of books, of leisure, of persons to aid you? Only turn your mind at last to these things, attend, if it be only a short time, to your own ruling faculty. Consider what this is that you possess, and whence it came, this which uses all others, and tries them, and selects and rejects. But so long as you employ yourself about externals, you will possess them as no man else does. But you will have this such as you choose to have it, sorted and neglected.